I'm good. Let's do it.
All right, may as well then. Hi Jarrett, it's been a while.
It has indeed. The last two segments I've been reporting remotely. Yeah, I'm surprised that I'm actually here doing this week's segment. I wasn't feeling the greatest coming off 10 days of Monster Fest, and I was thinking I might have to do this remotely again and patch it together and cut out every single cough from it. But thankfully the cough has passed.
Excellent. I'm glad you're on the mend, mate. Monster Fest looked like it was a fantastic year. I got to a few screenings. What I could see online, everyone had a great time. Congrats.
It was honestly, yeah, it was a terrific festival, and we saw it out well on Sunday evening with the awards, and then drinks into the very early hours that ended at Tankerville, because you can't call it Monster Fest if you haven't been to Tankerville.
So let's get down to business. What is coming out this week?
Well, it's a pretty massive week for releases this week. Basically, there's two huge releases. The first of which is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, coming out on 4K Blu-ray and DVD. And it's loaded with special features. You got a commentary, 7 featurettes, deleted scenes. And the good news is, if you don't have 4K, you can still get that Dolby Atmos because it's on the Blu-ray as well as the 4K, which is a nice touch. I definitely need to pick this bad boy up myself. But yeah, I don't know how soon I'll watch it again, given I saw it twice theatrically.
Well, last week they just announced that they've pushed back Dead Reckoning Part 2 to 2025. So you've got time.
Jeez, yeah, there's plenty of time. Well, in that case, I may just wait for a sale on that one because, yeah, the expenditure's been quite massive of late. But there's another title from Sony, admittedly, not quite as huge, or really not quite as good. Let's be honest, it's been a couple of months since it played theatrically, so I think we could be frank about it. Dracula Voyage of the Demeter. It's coming out on Blu-ray and DVD, and I have no idea what special features are on this one at this stage because Studio Canal have not reached out to tell me, which kind of makes me think maybe there's not going to be any special features on there. It's Lionsgate in the States, and I believe there were some deleted scenes on that one. I can't really recall what else was on there, but this is a film that I probably won't be revisiting in a hurry. Not that I disliked it, I just didn't enjoy it that much. It had a lot of potential, and it was a bit of a yawn, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of the films that, even though it's fairly short in and of itself, it could probably benefit from 10 minutes taken off it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, if they let me go at it with the scissors, I could probably work out maybe 27 minutes that we could pull from that and get it down to like an acceptable running length of 90 or less minutes, preferably 77 minutes. Hey, Ben? 77 minutes would be a good duration.
And then reshoot some slapstick comedy to shove in there, just so something, Dracula could slip on a banana peel.
Yeah, totally.
Like just to add a bit of entertainment to it,
and some maybe wobble board effects, something of that nature.
But he slips on a garlic clove.
Or I could digitally replace the Nosferatu character with Rolf Harris's head. That would be more terrifying. I can assure you of that. More terrifying.
You don't want to know what's down below.
God, no. And then there's one more release I'll mention from Universal Sony this week. It's from the Paramount catalog, and it's Scream 3, which is coming out on 4K Ultra HD, which is terrific because the Blu-ray, which has been out for eons, has a pretty tired transfer, and the 4K does look fairly spectacular. As spectacular as a Scream film from the early 2000s can look, but it does look great. So now we only need Scream 4, and that's just the completest in me because for me, that's the weakest of the Scream franchise, Part 4.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. The
Number
weakest.
3 for me.
Really? I see 3 I've got a soft spot for because at least it's, it's still Wes Craven and there's some fun cameos. But 4 was a struggle for me to revisit.
Interesting. I see at the time when I saw it theatrically, I thought, well, it's a little bit of a return to form.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not feel it. Admittedly, I will revisit when the 4K comes out, but I've seen it twice, once theatrically, and then I've snapped it up on Blu-ray when it came out, revisited it, and I actually enjoyed it less than I did the first time around. It was a bit of a like a Wes Anderson thing. Sometimes you watch one of the newer Wes Anderson films, and it's fine in a cinema. It's okay. It's good, but it's not a patch on Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, whatever. but then you revisit it on home entertainment, and then you find yourself struggling to actually finish the film. Yeah. So anyway, Scream 3 out in 4K. I give it 2 thumbs up. I mean, it's got Kevin Smith and Jay in there doing a cameo as well, which was really around that time that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back came back, where they had cameos galore. Anyway, so that one's coming out. The other key release.
It's what's his name? Sorry, it's what's his name from Die Hard as well, right? Who's the sleazy guy? Hans Baby. That guy. The that
guy.
He's like the film
professor. No. That's right. And it's Emma Roberts who's one of the leads in this one too.
Yeah.
Sort of kickstarted her screen queen career. Right. Well,
it's the Hollywood sex parties and stuff with.
Hang on, we're talking about 4 or 3. Now we're going back. We're talking about 3, aren't we? Yeah.
3. Three's the Hollywood one. Yeah.
3's the one where her mum's passed around like to all the sex parties.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
They secretly film, and it's all very Harvey Weinstein, but it's not Harvey Weinstein, but it's Harvey Weinstein, which is so odd considering it's
produced by Harvey Weinstein. Or was it Bob, actually? I think it's Bob and Harvey, although it's Dimension, so technically it's Bob. It's Bob's department, so interesting. But anyway, the other release that I want to mention, not from Universal Sony, from Roadshow, that's coming out this week is a gigantic release, and it's getting released on 4K Blu-ray and DVD, is Meg 2: The Trench. So I have not seen this yet. I will definitely watch it, partly because of the director who's behind the film, but also, I'm a bit of a sucker for big budgeted, giant monster / shark films. So I'll give it a look. Did you gentlemen see this one?
No, I missed it and spewing because everyone that I know who has seen it has been raving about it. Melzy saw it and she just loved it to death. So I'm definitely keen. I wasn't that crash hot on the first one, but this one really appeals to me for some reason.
I think he attempted to make up for the sins of the past with this one, but he was still sort of restricted by the fact the studio wanted a PG-13 film in the States.
I feel like the first one, they took themselves a bit too seriously, trying to make a mega shark movie, and it ended up being unintentionally funny. So with part 2, it looks like they've actually leaned into that humor.
Absolutely, that territory. And so no, I'm keen to check it out.
Does it have the China connection? Because they definitely tried to shoehorn those 2 Chinese characters.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
it. It does indeed. Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 featurettes on the 4K and the Blu-ray, and I think one of them actually talks about the dynamic between Jason Statham and the actor who I can't remember his name, and how sort of it's East meets West with those guys. But 2 featurettes. It's a bit of fluff, but I mean, it's Meg 2: The Trench. Are you going to watch the special features? Probably not.
And there's a double pack.
Grateful, exactly, and just be grateful it's coming out on 4K. And again, the Dolby Atmos track is on the Blu-ray and the 4K. So,
mate,
you don't need the 4K if you don't want that uptick in picture quality. So there's that.
Excellent. So that's it?
That is it for releases for this week. Anything else that's coming out certainly is not worth mentioning.
All right. Well, this week we're talking all about Halloween films. So I was going to pick your brain before we let you go and just sort of ask you what are 3 essential Halloween films for this year?
Okay. Well, look, there's the perennial favorite, regardless of what month, whether it's Halloween or not. It's John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween. It's pretty much a perfect film, and I watch it on an annual basis, sometimes biannually. I will actually be going to see, believe it or not, I've never seen Halloween on the big screen, which is shocking, but at any time it's played on a big screen, I've not been in town when it's on. I've seen this movie, I honestly think I've seen this movie more than 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
I've owned it on every format. I own multiple versions of it on different formats. And is it Monday or Tuesday? It's Tuesday night. I'm going to a cinema to see this on the big screen on Halloween. So I'm certainly excited for that. But look, it's not Halloween if there's no John Carpenter's Halloween, to be honest. My second one is one that I know we both dearly love, and we did a whole podcast episode probably in the old days of the fakeshemp.net podcast. And it's Satan's Little Helper from 2004, the Jeff Lieberman classic.
Yes.
And it feels like, when we were talking about it back then, a good 10 years ago, it was a bit of an obscurity. It was the last film that, Jeff Lieberman had directed and, hadn't really quite got its cult status yet. flash forward now, it's got a Blu-ray release in the US, a Blu-ray release in the UK, and both of the editions have exclusive content to one another. So I think it's finally being celebrated.
You and I watched that together, and I think the time it was just on DVD. That was the only means we had.
Was absolutely, yeah. And I admittedly, this will be a first-time watch on Blu-ray for me. So I'm excited to see how it looks, because obviously it was shot digitally, and even some of that looked a bit hokey on video in terms of the quality. So I'm wondering how it'll shape up on Blu-ray. But given that Synapse handled the transfer, I've got nothing but faith.
What a fun movie! What a fun movie!
It's fantastic. And for anyone that's not aware and doesn't want to delve 10 years back into the past to listen to that episode, it's basically about a lonely boy who befriends a serial killer, a very obedient serial killer. And it's, a terrific watch.
Who is in trick-or-treat disguise. So they trick-or-treat together.
Exactly. And nobody knows. And it's the perfect night to get away with murder, because, of course, people have dead bodies lying on their porch. It's Halloween. It's decorative. And I've got one last one, which is reasonably obscure. I wouldn't say super obscure, and I'm really looking forward to revisiting this one. Tales of Halloween from 2015, anthology. I think it's one of the better anthology films that has come out in probably the last decade or so. I mean, you've got so much good talent. You've got Lucky McKee, Mike Mendez. Who else have you got? Neil Marshall. It's 10 short stories with 10 different directors, all tied into Halloween. And the runtime's quite long, but I actually find that the duration of each of the films is like the perfect length.
Yes.
Nothing really outstays its welcome.
Yeah, I don't like anthology films. When anthology films only have like 2 or 3 stories, that's a real drag for me. But when they've got like 10 of them and they just move like lightning, that's where
lightning
it's fun.
pace. Exactly. And not 50 of them like those A to Z, ABC's a horror or whatever, where you've got 50 odd shorts and really there's 3 good ones, but you've got to wade through Ty West's horrible short film to get to the
They're
others.
not even short films. They're like little commercials.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But Tales of Halloween, I'm excited to revisit that one. So that's my top 3 essential Halloween films for this year.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thank you, mate. It's good to have you back on board. Let's do it again next week.
Absolutely, very keen to come back. And remember, gentlemen, until next time, stay physical.
Oh, no, Ben missed it.